Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's fantastic. Everything here is pretty good. This weekend, I was speaking with I almost said a content creator. I don't really consider myself a content creator anymore, and that's on purpose. But I was speaking with this other content creator because they somebody had asked them, what's your hobby? And this particular creator was like, I don't really have any hobbies. And it's for the same reason that so many people got into this, is because they found a way to monetize their hobby. And so instead of having a hobby, now they have a career. And this particular creator echoed the same sort of, I don't know why I brought this, I don't need it. This creator echoed the same sort of sentiment that I've heard quite often. It's that they lost their passion for their projects when their projects became their business. When the creation of those projects became their business. In this particular instance, it's a matter of the content is the business, not the project, but the project is what provides the content. And so this creator has lost a lot of their passion for the projects because it used to be their hobby. And now it's not. Now it's everything they do is filtered through this lens of its content. And so we talked about how that is the curse of content creation, is that once you've done it with any way, shape, or form, then everything is looked at through that lens. Every facet of your life. Well, can I monetize this? Can I monetize that? Can I make a blog about this? Can I, and suddenly you don't have any freedom or personal space because you're thinking about everything through the lens of monetization. I used to do that. I definitely did that. When I was younger and the internet was, in its infancy, I was fascinated with the idea of not necessarily fame. I wasn't looking for notoriety, but I was fascinated with the idea of being able to share my thoughts and ideas with similar-minded people, or people who might take value from my thoughts and ideas and apply it to their own needs. And so I was really into that concept, and I made a lot of websites early on where I could talk about the things that I was doing, my creativity, that sort of stuff. And I got addicted to the idea of that. This was long before social media. Social media was not a thing. This was just me saying, look, I did this thing and you can have it. And in those years, it wasn't really about money. I wasn't seeking money, and I wasn't seeking notoriety. It was literally just sharing for the sake of sharing. And so I shared a lot of things, and it meant that everything that I did got filtered through that lens. And then in my 20s, I had a good job when I first had my oldest. I had a good job, and I was making very good money for that age, that time. Not that time, but my age. And we were doing fine. But I hated the job. I couldn't stand it. And I had to leave. It was ruining everything. Sorry. And from that point forward, life got a whole lot more difficult because we didn't have money. And so I started looking at things that I enjoyed doing in a completely different light. It was, can I turn this into money? How can I turn this into money? I was also looking for something that I could do from home. At that time, it was requested that I don't take a second job. It was requested that I be home for the family. And so I was looking for things that I could do at home to make a little bit of extra money. And suddenly, for the next 15 years or so, my life turned into that. It turned into how can I turn this into money so that I can justify the expense? I didn't have, money to buy woodworking clamps. So if I'm going to buy woodworking clamps, I need to figure out a way to turn woodworking into cash so that I can buy woodworking. Everything became how do I make money with this so that I can justify doing it? This started that way. This started out with, a $50 camera that I bought on eBay and trying to figure out a way to turn the success of the time capsule video into an audience that could help me fund projects, that could help me fund this workshop, could help me figure all that out. But I quickly discovered, just like this content creator I was talking to this weekend, that once those projects became a job, they never really did become a job for me. I mean, let's be honest, I never really made it as a content creator. I didn't want to do them anymore. I didn't have interest in them. And here we are today. I don't really have a hobby anymore. Playing video games with M is probably my hobby, I have turned everything got filtered through this lens of I have to figure out how to make money with this or it's not worth my time because I need money. I'm not in that place anymore. I'm okay. I've got stability in my life and I can do things for the enjoyment of doing them. But I'm still struggling, I've got the wood sitting here to start on this workbench and I just haven't come down here to start on it because it just doesn't feel like a valuable use of my time. But then again, neither is sitting on the couch doing absolutely nothing, which is, I've done a whole lot of that over the last few years. But I'm still trying to figure that all out. I've got board games in my house that are still in the shrink wrap. They're board games that were sent to me from publisher friends, board games that I'm personally not interested in, but I feel obligated to them because they sent me these games, and I feel like I'm supposed to open them and talk about them on camera, and so they just sit there. And I feel guilty about it. I feel guilty because they've been sitting there for months, and I haven't done anything with them. I feel guilty because there's some sort of expectation there, and I don't think there was expectation there from any of the publishers that have sent me things. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, my current hobby is spending time with M. That's the thing that I like to do the most in the world, is spend time with her. There's really nothing else that I want to do. And often that just means I sit next to her and read a book, or play on my phone, or watch her play a video game, or play a video game with her. And I don't have that's my hobby. I don't think that's long-term healthy. And that's okay. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong here. I'm just saying that I've got to find the passion again. I came down here this weekend. I was going to work on the bench, but there's a couple of things I needed to take care of. I bought a straight edge. That was what was in the tube here. I bought an aluminum straight edge so I could get my jointer set up. It started acting funny. I had done it previously with a with a plastic level, so I bought an aluminum straight edge, so I set that up this weekend. My crosscut sled, I almost went and bought a new saw this weekend. I have this Evolution compound sliding miter saw. I absolutely hate it. It is the least accurate machine I've ever used in my life. I could crosscut freehand without a line better than that thing cuts. And you have to hold the handle exactly perfect, whatever. So I almost went and bought a new saw, but I think what I really need to do is fix my stupid miter saw sled. So that's what this is. I glued a new rear fence for my miter saw sled. My old sled, it's huge, and I loved it. And this is the second fence I've put on it, and all of the fences that I've ever put on this thing have warped. And it's really frustrating to have a sled where there's a bow in the middle and you can't get a 90-degree cut out of it. So I decided to glue together 3 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, and this is going to be my new rear fence. I clamped it to an aluminum straight edge. This isn't a straight, this is just a piece of extruded aluminum to try to help it stay straight while it dried. Hopefully this will turn out straight and square. I'll be able to have a crosscut sled again. That miter saw can just sit there for all I give a crap. And maybe someday I'll find something different. But I don't have anything I enjoy doing alone anymore, besides reading. I still enjoy reading alone. I don't enjoy reading out loud. I would much rather have somebody here with me while I do woodworking. I've always had this dream. I have this friend, John, who is like that. He's that backyard mechanic that everybody knows, and he works on everybody's vehicle. And he has this huge garage that he built that he works on people's vehicles in. And he goes out there every evening, every weekend. He just puts his garage door up and he works, and people just show up to his house. And they hang out and they work on things together. And I've always had this dream of doing, having a wood shop like that, where my garage door is open and the neighbors come over and we hang out and just make stuff. I haven't done anything to cultivate that dream, but it's still a dream. But the reality is right now, I would rather it be M down here hanging out with me making stuff. There's a lot to do in here, and I need to get it done. I guess this is a cry for help. I cry to myself. I'm not really asking you for help. Unless you want to book a vacation and come to West Virginia and hang out and work in the wood shop with me for a couple days. That's always open. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is prattle. It is a verb meaning to babble, to talk nonstop without regard as to whether what you are saying makes sense or is of any interest to the listener. Infancy conforms to nobody. All conform to it, so that one babe commonly makes for 4 or 5 out of the adults who prattle and play to it. Ralph Waldo Emerson, American poet, essayist, and transcendentalist. Prattle, P-R-A-T-T-L-E. I believe that this entire thing, all 1,700 and some episodes, are just prattle.